Guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you will look in front of you, you have your freckle breakdown agenda packet. So if you look at the front, this is everything we're going to cover, and this was based off of the feedback you guys gave me in your Google form about what you wanted to know about freckle. So freckle is a new program that the county has purchased for us to use this year with our students to try out. If you turn to the first page, it's going to break down exactly what freckle is. So freckle provides differentiated instruction for students for the classroom teacher and interventionist. It covers multiple subjects. So you have your core classes, your core subjects. You've got math, ELA, social studies, and science. The good thing about math is it is offered in Spanish as well. So for example, our specialist like Mr. Campbell, he'll be able to use this and implement it with his ELL kids. Freckle provides individualized instruction without having to do all the extra work. We all know that you're never going to have a class where everyone is on the same level. So the good thing about Freckle is it prompts students with an initial assessment, benchmark test, so it's going to know exactly what level each student is on, and then from then on, it's going to provide instruction on their level. It also aligns with the standards that you're teaching. So if you want to assign something specifically based on what you have been teaching that week, I'll show you in a minute how to do that. They have the option where you can select that standard and that skill for your students to work on. The first thing you'll need to do, we've already got our accounts set up and you guys are logged in. So the first thing I want you to do is on the home page, under your dashboard where it says getting started, if you will click on your roster, this is going to show you your student login cards. So your classes have already been added to Freckle, which is the easy part. So now every student is already in there. If you select class options, this is where you can print student login cards. So what I would do, what I did with my kids this morning, I would go ahead and print these and have them glue them or stick them somewhere in their notebooks that they bring to class, so that in case they ever get logged out or need this information, they have it right there. Right here, if you'll look, it says jump to class. So if you teach multiple classes, this is where you can go in and select whichever one it is that you want to look at. Or if you want to assign something just to them, you can select this. So you can select any of the periods that you teach, and then it will bring up their names and their login information. So if you share students with other teachers, like for example the middle school team, we share students with each other, it'll say shared with 4 teachers, and you can see who else they are linked with. Once students log in that first initial time, it will be saved. So anytime you need to get student login information, you're going to go to roster and then you can select your class. Students, as they log in and complete assignments, they will be able to earn coins, and as they practice their skills, they'll be able to earn coins for their student store. Their home page looks a lot different than what yours does. I'm going to pull up a student example really quick just to show you what theirs looks like. And we started practicing this morning so you can see. So if you look, once a student logs in, this is what they're going to see. So it'll say, hello, student name, ready to practice, and it'll tell them if they have assignments. So this student has 5 assignments. We went in and we worked with this morning. So you'll click the assignments, you have 5 assignments, and then it'll pull up each assignment you need to work on. So depending on what class they're in, that's the one that they'll select. And if you look over here, it'll tell you your coins. So this is how many the student has earned so far based on the assignments they've completed and the skills that they have practiced and worked on. They have the option to go in and just practice. They do not have to have an assignment to do this, which is great because anytime they finish their work early or have free time, they can log into here and practice. So if you'll look, it also shows them what their classmates are doing as well. So it kind of keeps track of who has the most coins. All right. I would suggest sometime looking at one of your students' freckle just to see what theirs looks like and how it differs from yours. And we can do that after the presentation. So I'm going to go back in. It's going to log me out because I was logged into the student. Good thing is it logs you right back in with Google. So the next thing we're going to look at under your dashboard is activity feed. So this shows what your students are doing in all subjects. If you share students with other teachers, as most of us do, their assignments and progress are also going to appear in the activity feed. That can get really confusing to look at and navigate through. So what I would suggest doing is just right here it'll say filter by subject. So I have mine selected just to where I can see ELA, which is the only subject that I teach. That way I'm only looking at what students are doing for mine. But if you were interested to see how a certain student was doing in something else, you can always check the other subjects back. If you teach multiple classes, all you have to do is select class and whichever class it is that you want to look at, and then you can see how they're doing that week. And you can see that we've already started. You can also change the time period. So if you wanted to look back a few weeks to see, so say in a few weeks you want to see how they were doing in the beginning, you can choose the time period and go back to that. Alright, so that is in your activity feed. The next thing, another thing before I move on that's good about this, it gives you data for most correct questions, so which student answered the most correct, and then least correct, who practiced the most, who practiced the least. So it's a good way to ensure that students are actually getting on there practicing and doing what they're supposed to do when you assign them something. Alright, next if you will click on assignments. So there are two ways to create assignments. You can click on assignments and then choose which class you're going to be working with, which class you want to assign something to, and then you would click add an assignment. Or you can simply just go down to subjects and choose what subject you want to assign something for, and then it'll take you through the same process. But for now, I'm going to go through assignments. So I'm going to select English because that's what I teach. Depending on what you teach, you can go in and choose that if you want to play around with one you'll actually be using. So depending on which one you choose, you'll have different options. So I'm going to assign something to my ELA grade 5, my homeroom. So I'm going to click add an assignment, and now I will click ELA. So I have all of these different options for assignments. You have targeted ELA skills practice, articles and stories, word study, decodables, and benchmark assessments. Depending on which subject you are selecting, your options for assignments are going to be different, but it's still the same way to set it up and assign something. So for this one, I'm going to select targeted ELA skills practice based on standards that I have been teaching the last couple of weeks. So I would click that. Then this is where you can select which students you want to assign it to. I'm going to select all. So say you only wanted a few to be assigned this particular standard, you would just check which ones you wanted. Select the grade. So this is 5th grade. And even though I'm choosing 5th, remember it's still going to put the assignment to their instructional level. Alright, so we have been working on main ideas. So I'm going to select, under select domain and topic, I'm going to go to main ideas. And then I'm going to choose determine what belongs in a summary of a text, which is something we've been working on. Then all I would have to do is hit assign, and the assignment has been created. So now when students log in, it's going to be in that assignment bar. You can also copy the link if you just saw the little message that popped up to go directly to your Google Classroom. I know some of us use that, which is nice. Alright. So the initial practice, if it's the first time students are practicing a skill or a standard, it's going to give them that initial assessment. And then every kid is still going to get the same content, but it's just going to be on their level. So it's nice, they're still going to be learning the same information, but it's going to be on their individualized level. You don't have to worry about assigning them that initial assessment, because as they move on through Freckle and through the assignments and practice, it's going to move with them and adjust their levels based on how they're doing. So it's great because it keeps up with that automatically. Alright, let's see, Freckle, so that's all under our dashboard. If you go back to your getting started, so say you still have some questions, maybe you're using it and you get lost and you're stuck on something and you can't leave your room to ask somebody. So all you need to do is scroll down under the getting started, and it'll say, I'm going to zoom in, have questions or need help finding something, check out our frequently asked questions. They also have a support desk that you can call. Another good option they have is they've got a link that you can click right here. It says, see how over 400,000 teachers use Freckle for independent practice, small groups, centers, and more. So it's a great link to look at because it gives you a ton of ideas of how you can use this in the classroom. So let's just, if you click on this, the check out frequently asked questions, you'll see, and they put it all in like different categories, so it's easy to follow. You might see, do you have a sample lesson? Is Freckle offered in Spanish? What do Freckle student dashboards look like for different grades? So if you wanted to go back in, maybe you didn't have a student login, to see what theirs looks like, you can go here and click this link. The last thing we're going to go over before I give you time to work with your teammates and your partners of different subjects that you teach, we're going to go over a couple of ways of how to use it in the classroom. You can use it for basically any way you want. You can use it for warm-ups, direct instruction. You can have your small groups working on it. You can do it during intervention time. I like to use it on during focus on Fridays, so you can have students working on a specific skill. Another way that I'm planning to try it out next week is in my center rotations, alternate days, but at each station have students working on a different skill or a different standard. So for example, if you're teaching English, you can have students practice word study as a warm-up when they come in. So for the first 15 minutes, I want you to practice word study. You can also assign it for homework if you know students are able to get online at home. Then it's a great way for them to practice. The benchmark assessments is a great tool to use once you're finished teaching a unit, so you can assess what students have learned. The reports are very specific, so they're going to tell you exactly what students need more instruction on and what areas they're good to go in. So I'm going to give you time now to work on creating assignments, work on printing your student login cards, just playing around, seeing if you have any questions, and then this will be a good time for you to talk with your teammates to figure out maybe how you plan to use it during your instructional time in the next few weeks. All right, thank you.